My husband, Jack, gave Andy Primark a job after he got a lot of money from his family. He said to me, "I don't need to stay with you anymore. I'm getting $5 million. I don't need you when I have all that money." His words were cold, and it felt like he was ending our marriage after being together for a long time. I felt like I was just in his way. But Jack doesn't know yet about the big secret connected to the $5 million he's inheriting. "Mom, is it true that Grandpa is really sick?" My daughter Sophie surprised me with her question. Jack's dad, Ethan, being very sick was supposed to be a secret between Jack and me. "Did you hear that from your dad?" The only one who could have told Sophie is Jack. "Yes, Dad called and said I should give up Grandpa's money." Sophie's words made me worried. Just because of that one phone call, my peaceful life was going to change. A few days after Sophie's call, Ethan passed away quietly. Since I got married, I've lived with Jack's parents and I've always been there to help them when they were sick. It's been 5 years since Jack's mom died, and now we got the news about Ethan. The funeral went smoothly, but just when I thought things would calm down, my husband's behavior changed a lot. "Why is this place so dirty? Have you not been cleaning properly?" Jack keeps pointing out tiny bits of dust and small stains. "I'm sorry, maybe I missed it. I'll clean it right now." "This place doesn't look clean either." "Are you sure you clean every day?" "Yes, I clean like I always do." Even though I clean like usual, I don't understand why Jack is so mad. But it seems like it's not just about cleaning. "Why did you make this? I wish you'd think more of how it tastes when you cook. It's tough when the meals I put effort into get criticized one by one. Even the dishes he used to love are now not good enough. Is something bothering you lately?" I finally ask, but it seems to make him even more upset. There's no point denying it. "Honestly, the food you make isn't good. I've been putting up with it because my parents never complained, but I've always thought it lacked flavor." Jack's words hurt me deeply. It's the first time he's criticized me so harshly. When Jack was this upset, I knew saying anything would just make it worse. My mom always cleaned and did laundry perfectly, and when she cooked, she put so much care into it. "You're nothing like her. I've been patient, but I can't take it anymore." It was the first time he compared me to his mother and criticized me. All I could do was think hard about myself. "I'm really sorry. I never thought he didn't like my cooking." Jack always used to smile and say it's delicious when he ate. When we first got married, his mom gave me cooking tips. It's hard to believe he always thought my cooking was bland. Tears started to flow. "Do you think crying will change anything?" "Your tears don't mean anything now. Don't cry in front of me. Everything lately just feels so hard." After he said that, Jack suddenly got up and left the house, slamming the door. "Jack, where are you going? Please come back." But he didn't seem to hear me. My head was spinning, trying to understand this sudden change, unable to grasp what had just happened. Until a few months ago, we were a close couple, sharing everything, holding hands, enjoying the little things in life together, and facing small problems as a team. I couldn't understand why we had grown apart. Then, I remembered what Sophie had said during our call. "It's about Grandpa's inheritance." Sophie's voice sounded unsure. That night, Jack came home much later than usual, and I didn't get the chance to ask him about it. Was something going on? Maybe Jack had learned something about the inheritance and didn't want to talk about it. I tried to talk to Sophie about it. Why are they talking about the inheritance while Grandpa is still healthy? She had her doubts about Jack and told me she had shared them with him. If things stay the same with the inheritance, I'll get everything. Considering Sophie, I think this is the best option. Remembering how Jack had been distant with Sophie lately, I started to have doubts. The thought of Jack taking all the inheritance and leaving me behind made my chest feel tight, and tears filled my eyes again. In my sadness, I noticed the sounds around me more vividly. Just as the room went quiet, the phone suddenly rang loudly. I didn't feel like answering it, but it could be important. Looking at the caller ID, I saw Jack's name, the same Jack who had left earlier. I felt drained, but I didn't want to face any consequences for ignoring the call, so I reluctantly picked up. "What are you doing? Don't make me wait." "I don't have much time," he said in a commanding tone that caught me off guard. He could be stubborn sometimes, but he wasn't the type to yell without a reason. Feeling surprised by his sudden change in behavior, I let out a small sigh, hoping he wouldn't notice. "What's wrong? Is something the matter? I wanted to talk to you about something." "I'll be home soon. Stay there and wait for me. Jack's voice sounded colder than usual lately. I just replied with a quick okay and hung up. When I looked at the clock, more than 3 hours had passed since Jack left. I had been crying so much, feeling confused and hurt, that I hadn't noticed the time passing. After a while, I heard the door open and Jack's footsteps. A sweet smell, a body wash we didn't have at home, drifted from him. That unfamiliar scent made the pain in my chest worse. I'm going straight to work. I want to end our relationship. As a thank you, I'll give you $220,000. His words confirmed my worst fears. Even though I had feared it, facing this reality was still shocking. I felt like I couldn't cry anymore. I'm tired of you not taking care of things at home. I want to live peacefully as I get older. Linda had also hoped for a peaceful old age. But it seemed like Jack was the one ruining that dream. Why? My words trailed off as I tried to find something to say. Jack looked at me with a smug smile. Then suddenly, Jack's phone rang with a loud ringtone. It was a tone I didn't recognize, different from his usual one. To me, it felt like the strange sound hinted at communication from someone specific. I'm sorry, but I haven't finished my errands yet. Linda sensed a hint of softness in Jack's voice, different from his usual tone towards her. It felt somewhat gentler and more personal. Plus, with the sweet scent of body wash lingering in the room, the unfamiliar ringtone from earlier, and the change in Jack's demeanor, it all hinted at something he might be hiding. I knew it, Linda whispered quietly so Jack wouldn't hear. His affair was becoming too obvious. Considering the inheritance he might get soon, the alimony might not matter to him, even if his cheating comes out. After finishing his call, Jack looked at Linda with cold, emotionless eyes. My plans haven't changed. I need you to sign this document. I'll be in touch later. Make sure it's signed by then. I won't be coming back to this house. Remember, this house is now yours. Without saying another word or even looking at her, Jack headed towards the door. What did our 40-year marriage mean? A few days later, Linda found herself at a lawyer's office, gathering information about Jack's actions and Ethan's inheritance. She explained everything to their daughter, Sophie. Sophie's expression changed. It was painful for Linda to admit their mistakes to their daughter, but Sophie, out of love for her mother, cried and then resolved to confront Jack. She even introduced Linda to a lawyer to help them through it. Hello, I'm Robinson. I'll be handling your case. I'll do my best to support you, said the woman named Robinson, sitting across from me. She seemed to be in her late 40s, radiating a calm presence. Her tidy hair and professional attire gave off a sense of professionalism. Her clear way of speaking made me feel reassured. I'm Lily Johnson. I'm sorry for reaching out to you so suddenly. I'm a bit nervous since it's our first meeting in these circumstances, I said. That's okay. Sophie has already given me some information. She briefed me on the situation, so I can discuss it with you calmly, replied Mrs. Robinson. After researching and gathering information both by myself and with Mrs. Robinson's help, we confirmed some facts. My husband doesn't have any siblings, so if Sophie gives up the inheritance, the big fortune, around $5 million, will all go to him. Also, he started an affair with a woman named Jennifer at a bar they visited, and it seems the relationship lasted about 6 months. I was curious about what happened between her and my husband. I admitted to Mrs. Robinson during our joint investigation. Together, we uncovered an important fact that my husband might not know yet. Linda, how do you intend to proceed from here? Mrs. Robinson asked me gently, her eyes soft and understanding. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I deeply appreciate it, I replied, smiling gratefully at her. After paying the fee for the procedures and exchanging a few words, I quietly left her office. 5 days later, I got a call from Jack on my cell phone. He suggested meeting at a quiet cafe. I arrived a bit early, and the cafe was surprisingly empty. The owner welcomed me warmly and said I could sit anywhere. I chose a seat by the window to enjoy the peaceful view outside. After a while, the bell on the door rang, and I saw Jack and his new girlfriend, Jennifer, walking in. When Jack saw me, he smirked proudly. Are you ready for the divorce? He asked bluntly. I was taken aback by his first statement. It seemed like he was convinced he was in control of the situation. Is this your new partner? I hadn't expected him to bring her to such an important discussion, and I was surprised by his decision. I wondered if he was still the man I once loved deeply. Had he changed because of his cheating, or was he always like this? I couldn't tell. You're Jack's wife, right? I'm Jennifer. I've recently started seeing him, she said, suddenly smiling. I couldn't quite understand the meaning behind her sudden smile. I've heard a lot about you from Jack. Seeing you in person, you do look a bit older. I wonder how Jack put up with all these years. I feel a bit sorry for him. Jennifer seemed to take great care of her appearance. She looked much younger than her actual age, which was in her 60s. Compared to her, I might look my age, but I couldn't accept the way she said it. Jennifer, it's those kinds of comments I warned you about, Jack interjected. But yes, I did think that. But Jack, if it were me, I would cherish you more, I said softly. I understand, Linda. I don't want you to overthink it anymore. I just want you to file the divorce papers, Jack said, his attitude not surprising me. Hold on, there's something I need to discuss, I said, noticing a hint of confusion on Jack's face. What do you mean? Is this about your father's inheritance? Is that why, after all these years of marriage, you're making this decision? I wanted to know the truth behind everything. I fail to see how my father's inheritance and you are connected. That's solely my father's affair. I've heard detailed stories about your father's extensive inheritance from Sophie. I know its value. So what? That inheritance isn't for you to claim, Jack retorted. But I'll answer. Actually, more than the inheritance itself, the end of caring for my parents is one of the reasons I want to part ways with you. Just a caregiver role, I couldn't believe Jack saw me only as a caregiver and not the loving wife I used to be. I don't even have the energy to cry. Can we speed this up, Jack? I want to start our new life. Besides, have you still not let go of Jack? Anger and sadness hit me in waves. My hand trembled as I took a deep breath and pulled out the divorce papers. But my name isn't written yet. The situation isn't settled for me to hand them over. You remember promising me the house and money, right? I remembered our conversation clearly. Yeah, I did say that. I'm a man of my word, so I plan to give you the house and money. You say you're kind, but a truly kind person wouldn't just use their wife as a caregiver and then abandon her. So I'm demanding rightful compensation of $30,000 and the rights to the house, I said firmly. What compensation? When we talked about money, it was supposed to be $20,000. You always nitpick at the very end. Your attitude of trying to pay me the absolute minimum is so obvious. But the difference of $10,000 means a lot to me, Jack retorted. So I think $30,000 as compensation is fair. Your girlfriend is Jennifer, right? I thought of claiming from her too, but instead, I want to settle for $330,000. And I intend to sign the divorce papers right here in front of you. Jennifer unexpectedly commented, first suggesting that $30,000 would be okay. Jack, pay it if you're satisfied with it, she added. With Jennifer's statement, Jack finally agreed to the alimony of $30,000. Now we need Jack's signature on the land title change document Mrs. Robinson prepared and the notarized alimony agreement, I said calmly, surprising Jack with my preparedness. We lined up our seals at the designated spot, and Jack smiled as if he anticipated something. So Linda, will you sign the divorce papers right now? He asked. Understood. Here's the divorce paper, I replied, carefully writing my name and firmly stamping it. Jack couldn't hold back his laughter and laughed out loud again. With this, you and I no longer have any relationship. Also, I have something to tell you. Actually, I'm set to inherit $5 million, so I didn't need someone like you. Thanks for the divorce. What a foolish ex-wife you had, letting go so easily for just $30,000. Jack sneered as I left, followed by the loud laughter of Jack and Jennifer echoing. I hurriedly left and headed to City Hall. My only goal now was to complete this procedure as quickly as possible and sever ties with the two of them completely. They might be laughing happily now, but I wondered how long their happiness would last. A month later, I sold the house I received from Jack, prepared for a new life, and decided to live near my daughter Sophie, who planned to start her life near her husband's parents' home. Despite my concerns about Jack's mother living nearby, Sophie's husband warmly welcomed me and was always considerate, which reassured me greatly. My daughter Sophie initially seemed angry at Jack's actions, but when I shared a certain fact with her, her expression completely changed and she smiled brightly. I had a hunch that Jack would soon realize my plan. As evidence, I deliberately didn't change my mobile number. The day my intuition became reality came sooner than expected. From the afternoon, my phone rang repeatedly, and sure enough, it was Jack. He called many times, but at first, I purposely didn't answer. After receiving repeated calls, I finally picked up. Hello, why are you doing this? I couldn't hide my surprise. What's the matter? You called out of the blue. Jack raised his voice. What's the problem? Where are you right now? I thought you might have visited our old house. But in reality, that house had already been sold. Since we've decided to divorce, there's no me for you to be involved with anymore. Where did Sophie go? I can't find her. It seemed he went to Sophie's old house. Of course she wasn't there, and I handled all the information and procedures related to Sophie's husband's family home. So Jack had no way of knowing. He seems to have hit a dead end and contacted me.